70%. 70 is the number I want you to hold in your minds until the end of my talk. 70% of the world's population are under 30 years of age. What does that mean to each of us sitting here today? Does it mean that we can continue being synonymous with apathy? Does it mean that we can rise above the situations we are in and decide what we are contributing to our world? My talk will consist of 3 things today. 3 behaviors, 3 lessons I'll share with you about changing the way you are as a young person, front row excluded, as a young person, and in effecting certain behavioral changes to maximize your impact on your own world. I want you to view your life as a throne. I want you to understand that your life is a kingdom in its individual form. And you are the king or the queen, or in some cases both, of that kingdom. This said, I now want to teach you how to maximize everything within your kingdom to make it your own. Now, a lot of people talk about young people with an attitude of disregard. The youth, who cares about them? Look at the youth of today. This generation. A lot of the people who have a problem with our generation seem to forget who raised it. And a lot of the people who have a problem with this generation like to think that they were very different when they were that generation, one generation ago. A lot of what I'm going to talk about has to do with being young. Some of you want to be young, some of you are young, some of you are young at heart. But being young is not a disability. Being young is a powerful force. It's a weapon that you can use to your advantage. Being young is all you need to be in a world where 70% of us account for the world's population. That's a huge number, 70. The first behavior I'd like us to change is the way we approach our day, the way we approach our time. Time is our most valuable asset. Don't let Donald Trump and the Bill Gates and the Patrice Mutsepes tell you otherwise. These are men who've made time work for them. When you wake up in the morning, maximize your time. And one way to do this is to shift your ass, okay? I want you to pick it up in the morning and move it. It's going to help you. If you wake up at 2 p.m., wake up with this energy and say, today, I'm going to seize the day. That's fantastic. You say, today, I'm going to be successful. Success will happen to me. Well, the sad truth is that success happened at about 8 a.m. You missed success by a long shot. Yes, you were out last night. Yes, you were partying. Yes, you were dealing drugs on the side of the sidewalk. But success happens to those who want it to happen, for those who make it happen. So I want you to start changing the way you view your time. Wake up in the morning, deal with your day the way you'd like to. Now, by show of hands, how many of us here would hope to, or have, or would like to one day have a job? That's pretty much all of you. A lot in the front row who sort of just didn't raise their hands. I think they already have jobs. But the interesting thing is that a lot of you want jobs, but how many of you want careers? Because a career and a job are 2 different things. A job is what you get up to do every day, and you do it for the benefit of someone else, in return for payment. A career is something that gets you really going. A career is something that allows you to open up yourself to what you do every day. It's something that you get up to in the morning and say, you know what? I'm amazing at what I do, and I'm amazed that I'm able to do it. That is what a career is. The only way you'll get to a career is if you reassess what you're doing right now. Now, I have an issue with old people. I really do. And heaven forbid I turn out to be one day. But I really do have an issue with old people. We don't trust old people with little children. We don't trust old people to drive on the right side of the road. But we trust old people with our countries. and we trust old people with important jobs. Now, before I'm shot by the Avril Elizabeth Society, I'd like to say that old people do have value, but they cannot simply be valuable for discrediting the youth. 70% of this world is filled with youth, with young people. So why are we not taking charge of our lives? Let's go back to having a career for a second. Being in the career you want, or the job you have, are two different things. We've established that. But let's also look at how we actually got to be in that career or in that job. When I finished matric, short story. When I finished matric, my dad sat me down and said, "Son, what are you doing after matric?" And as much as it sort of hurt me to break my dad's Indian heart, I told him, "Dad, I will not be a cardiac surgeon. I want to study a BA." My dad looked at me with mingled fury and hatred and a tiny bit of post-apartheid resentment. And he told me, "My son, the librarian." Well, all I can say is that by doing what I wanted to do and by continuing with that, I not only proved to myself that it's possible to be successful with a BA degree, I proved that I could change the attitude of someone who was stubborn and stuck in their ways, built in an era where he was told how to think. And I am telling you that you can now define how you want to think. You can define what your future holds for you. And that is the message of what I'm trying to tell you today. The second behavior I'd like to ask you guys to change is to talk with conviction. Thoughts become words, become things. That's a common understanding. But do we really impact everyone in our lives with the things we say? How's it, China? It's great, it's wonderful, and possibly you live in the East Rand. But does it really allow you to impact someone? Slang, casual jokes, they're wonderful and they're great. But are you spending 70% of the things you're saying, of that, are you spending 70% of the time saying things that impact on another person's life? We don't have to wait to be 86 and on pension or without, body parts to decide to speak that way. We could start speaking that way right now. We could decide, we could choose to impact people with what we say. So I urge you to go out there and use the voice you have with the thoughts you've manifested to share in something. It's a common phrase that if I give you an apple and you give me an apple, we both have an apple each. But if I give you an idea and you give me an idea, we now have 2 ideas each. So if we could take that and extend it to everyone we meet, I think as 70% of the world, we'll be doing everyone a great service. The third thing I'd like to talk about is how we treat each other as young people. Another short story. There was this man who ordered 100 live African frogs, and he shipped them off, let's use a politically correct country, to India. And they were there, and he opened up the case, and the frogs were busy inside, and he accidentally left. There was probably a cricket game on, and he left the lab and went home. Came back the next morning, hung over from garlic and ginger, and looked at his crate of frogs, and these 100 live frogs were all inside the crate. So he calls up the African Center for Frogs. There is one. And he tells them, "Guys, my frogs are alive, but they're still in the box. There must be something wrong." And the guy says, "Eish, these are African frogs. When one goes up, it's got 99 pulling him back down." And this is something that I find more and more common with people in the world, not just Africa, but particularly in a country with such harsh economic divides, is that we're okay to see someone do well, we're just not okay to see them do better than we have. And I think that's an issue. I think that as young people, we have to decide, we have to choose to spend 70% of our energy uplifting and encouraging, and yes, being happy for someone else's success. It's when we're happy for someone else that we release the energy of hatred, of resentment, of regret, of inadequacy. We release those emotions, those feelings. So let us release those emotions and those feelings on a more regular basis. Let us be happy for one another, and let us inspire each other to do well. Next time you see a friend on Facebook say, hey, I've got a new car, it's energy to say, I did not see that, move on. That's energy that you're spending to ignore something. Like it. Show him appreciation. If he didn't buy a German car, then I tell you right now, do not like it. And do not You know, it comes down to being young and enjoying the time you have as you're young and spending it in a way that is positive and spending it in a way that you feel will impact on someone else's life. I feel that in this world we live in, 70% of us, and you'll hear me say it a lot today, are young. But young, again, does not mean incapable. Young means super capable. Young means I can do something and I will do it. Young means I will not hate on the next person. Young means I will choose the life or to live the life that I want to live. If you want to be an actor or an actress and your life's ambition is to be like Reg on The Bold and the Beautiful, then you cock your eyebrow up and you smolder into that lens and you share many marriages with your children. This is what we need to do. You have the chance right now to choose a path that suits you. Don't choose a job. Don't choose a career. Now, some of you might say, yes, that's easy for you to say. You don't have applied maths in the morning. That's true. I don't have applied maths. But my point is, if you're doing applied maths, make sure you're doing it because where it will get you will be somewhere where you will be happy. It will be somewhere where you feel at home in your own skin. Now I want to talk about how we can sort of bring those three things in together. And that is the power of you. All our lives as young people, we're constantly told, be more, be less, move left, move right, and be something or not. We're constantly reshapen and remolded into something that is not who we are. And it's been done with such conviction and with such dexterity from whoever's been doing it that we eventually believe that this is me. But is it really? Is it really you, or are you living in a system that has pushed you out? Another carbon copy, another mold, another figment of someone else's doing, designed to make them work. Decide on a daily basis what you need to do. Decide how you will interact with people. Decide to spend your time the way you should. Don't wait to go sky jumping when you're 55. You know, don't wait to go cliff hanging when you're 63. Chances are your back won't make it. Do it next week. Think of things in a different dimension. Think of it as, I don't have to wait 30 years before I become the man I am or the woman I am. That whole life begins at 40, that worked well for Oprah, you know, or not in some cases, you know. But does it work for you? Does it work well for what you want to achieve? Life's precious and time is fleeting. So my message to you is be you, because you are all you need to be you. And I want to tell you that every opportunity to speak should be an opportunity where you share what you think, where you share that voice. Make every moment last. Make every chair you sit on, be it at school, be it with your parents, be it with intellectuals, be it with children. Make that chair a throne. Manage your kingdom and look at yourself as sitting on something gilded, something great, and something amazing.